Welcome to Dr. Charles Speaks, a podcast for now. You've joined us for a special series of transformational talks, selected exclusively from Dr. Charles's corporate success calls. The 15-minute calls are designed to encourage leaders, activate your thought life, and prepare you for the challenges ahead. Dr. Charles joins every call with a blend of his personal experiences, his expertise as a John Maxwell certified mentor and coach, and of course, his more than 30 years of exceptional experience in both corporate America and ministry. Get motivated with Dr. Charles Speaks, a transformational talk from the Red Line on today's podcast, inspiring excellence and generating results.
Good morning, my friends, and happy Monday to you again. This is the Red Line Corporate Success Call. This 15-minute call, don't take it lightly, for it is designed to start your week off on a positive note, and it is to inspire you to continue to challenge yourself in your personal leadership growth. It is my pleasure once again to share with you. I'm learning and growing. I'm trusting that you are too. It's a great journey. I'm excited once again to share with you on the subject of how to really overcome negative experiences. We all have them. You wouldn't be telling the truth if you never had a negative experience. And so individuals that manage negative experience well while others struggle. There's two sides to be on. You can either struggle with those experiences or you can manage those negative experiences and turn it into a positive. I'm all about being positive. I think that makes a difference in our world and our society. Positive people just seem to make a difference in people who may be sad or mad or angry. You just continue to be happy and smiling and doing good things. That's what you want to do each and every day. You know, Dennis Woolley, he said this. He said, expecting the world to treat you fairly just because you're a good person is a little like expecting the bull not to charge you because you're a vegetarian. You know, we're going to have pitfalls. We're going to have negative experiences, and I want to talk about that. I've certainly had my share. I'm sure you've had yours, but how do you respond to them? What is it? Is it a knee-jerk reaction or is it a response? You know, there's a difference between a reaction and a response. A reaction is like being in the doctor's office and he takes that rubber hammer and he hits your knee and it kicks out. It just automatically kicks out because he hit it with that hammer. But a reaction, a response that is something you think about before you react. And a lot of times we get caught in the heat of the moment and we say the wrong thing or we react in the wrong way. But a lot of times, well, all the time, we really should respond by thinking first before we speak. I've never known anyone who said, I love problems, I love negativity. But I've known many who have admitted that their greatest gains came in the middle of their pain. I can attest to that, the mistakes that I've learned over the course of my life, and some of them were painful. I believe to this day I've certainly learned from them. At least you could ask some of my friends and they say, yep, he learned from them. And that's always good. You may still have some of the physical scars to look at and remind you of. I can remember being in high school and I was in the shop where we were grinding metal materials in the class, and I had this piece of metal that I had to grind down on the grinding machine, and it slipped out of my hand and caught part of my hand and cut it where I required some stitches. It was painful and it bled, and I had to go and leave the class and go to the hospital and get some stitches in my hand. But to this day, years later, I can still look at my hand and see the scar that was brought on from that experience. It was painful, it's memorable, but I don't dwell on it. And that is the key. Don't dwell on the negativity, but learn from the negativity, learn from the pain from the past, learn from the mistakes from the past, and do something different and move forward with the mindset of wisdom and becoming better along the way. The next time you find yourself in the midst of a bad experience, just remind yourself that you are on the cusp of an opportunity to change and to grow. And that's the key. Did you learn something from it? Yes, you did. Did you grow from it? Yes, you did. And that should be your affirmative answer. Yes and yes. But when you don't learn from it and you repeat the same things over and over, as I've said before, nothing changed. If you don't make any change, nothing's going to change. But when you make the change and make the adjustment and have learned from the experience, it's going to not only make a difference in your own life, in your own journey, but you're going to be able to share with those others around you so that they don't make the same mistakes. That's why you have good parents, your mother, your father, your grandparents. They're able to share with you life experience. And if you listen to them, then that wisdom will make a difference in your life. And that's a good thing. Oftentimes, it takes a bad experience for us to face the changes we need to make in our lives. You know, people tell you, man, I could have told you should have made that change a long time ago. And you heard them, but you didn't listen. And then finally, it got so bad, it maybe even almost cost your life, you decided that it's time to get out. And sometimes people don't get out and they lose their lives because of a negative experience or a bad experience. They lose the position that they've had, or they lose the opportunity to take on something that would make them better. But it's a situation that no matter what you've gone through, no matter what you've gone through in your life or what you are currently going through, you still have to remember there is an opportunity to grow from it and to take responsibility for your life. Let me say this. People who overcome bad experiences, they avoid the label of victim, and they take the responsibility for moving forward. They don't say, what happened to me is the worst thing in the world, and I'll never be free of it. They say, what happened to me was pretty bad, but other people are worse off, and I won't give up. They don't wallow in self-pity or ask, why me? Or that's a good thing because it's one step from why me to wow is me. Folks, remember, if you always do what you always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten. And so look within, look outside of your realm of responsibility. What is it that you can do as a result of your pain and turn lemon into lemonade? Because if you truly want to arrive at a new destination, then you'll need to take a new path. And that is so important when we deal with the pain of life. There's going to be pitfalls, there's going to be trials, there's going to be tribulations along the way. But as you examine a self-examination first and what you can do next to prevent that pain from continuing on and that negative experience from haunting you from day to day, you can make a difference. And so, like John Maxwell would say, he said, I have come to adopt a positive life stance. What do you mean, a positive life stance? That's digging your heels in and deciding before the negativity hits your pathway. That's adopting in advance something positive, optimism, taking a life stance. And he goes on and says, because I believe taking a life stand, it gives me the best chance to succeed while putting me in the best position to help others succeed. You know, John Maxwell, he came to develop this mindset by the way of the following thinking. And I like to mimic that in my own expression, in my own life. He goes on and says, life is filled with good and bad. Some of the good and bad I can't control. That's life. Some of the good and bad will find me. If I have a positive life stance, the good and the bad will become better. If I have a negative life stance, the good and the bad will become worse. Therefore, I choose a positive life stand. And that's what I'm challenging you to do, no matter what's going on in the office place, no matter what's going on in the community, if it's negative, if it's painful, choose to adopt a positive life stance, because it will give you the best chance to succeed, or you'll just wallow in the negativity. You'll wallow in your self-pain. You'll wallow in depression. But I'm challenging you. I'm calling you by name. Come out and let the sun shine in and be positive no matter what. It's like the person who looks at the rose bush and all they can see is the thorns. But I'm asking you to look at that rose bush of life and see the flowers that have bloomed. That is what I'm speaking on today, is being an overcomer of negative experience. And though you may have struggled, what did you learn? What did you apply? What will your headlines read going forward into the new month, into the new year? What would the headlines read? No insight, no matter how profound, has value to you unless it's attached to changes that you will make based on what you've learned. We're always continuous learners, whether it's from a good experience or whether it's from a bad experience. The reality today is facing difficulties is inevitable, but learning from them is optional. Which will you choose? Will you choose to do nothing? Will you face your difficulties and negative experience head on? Would you take away a negative response or reaction, or will you take away a positive response and learn and grow and be successful and making a difference in letting your light shine where you're at along the journey? Warren Lester, he said this: success in life comes not from holding a good hand, but playing a poor hand well. No matter what cards you've been dealt, it's not about that hand, but it's about playing that hand well. And so I like to close today, and I hope this has encouraged you that some individuals, all individuals, which will it be? Which crowd will you be? Will you manage your negative experience well while others struggle? Choose the side of managing negative experiences well. I hope this has blessed you to be a blessing as you go forward into the new week. Along your journey, let your light so shine that others will see something different about you. And when that test comes, the first test of negativity this week, you'll just smile and you'll be the difference maker in that crowd. You'll lead the way because you are an overcomer and you are a positive person. You've been listening to the Red Line Corporate Success Call. Thank you for joining me, Dr. Charles, until we meet again.
Thank you for listening to Dr. Charles Speaks. Visit drcharlesred.com for booking info for your ministry, business, or leadership team. Get info about the Red Line, a 15-minute corporate success call each Monday morning with Dr. Charles. Follow Dr. Charles on all social media at Dr. Charles Red. Subscribe to the podcast here for every episode of Dr. Charles Speaks. Thanks for joining us. Like Dr. Charles always says, no matter what, never, never, never give up. Until next time.